It seems to be the big topic of the week, a thing that I'm sure all of you are about to cringe to do, but I think we should all do it, everyone. Let's all pat ourselves on the back, give ourselves a nice pat on the back, because we, as a podcast, had Javonte Williams as a running back 1. And he's just taken Twitter, Reddit by storm. Keep Trade Cut has him ranked as running back 4. Javonte Williams, boys.
We aren't selling. We are not selling. Well, it's funny if you look at some of the popular Twitter accounts. Apparently, nobody had Javonte Williams as their RB1, which, I mean, to be completely honest, I think that's just false. Like, I feel like a decent amount of people were on the Javonte Williams hype train along with us. And like lastly, you're not gonna, as a rookie, get that high on Keep Trade Cut without like a bandwagon following to a certain extent. Because that's just kind of how it works, right? If you're one of the dudes that has no truthers, then you're going to just get bogged down. So, Javonte Williams, truthers, we are here and we are not selling until he's RB1.
Oh, well.
And then we're hitting the sell button very hard.
No, we're never selling. We never sell. We never talk.
It was weird. They were like mad that like people called him correctly. Like they were almost like mad. It's like, there's no way you got it. And we're like, yeah. A lot of people said it.
Just watch the Miami game. He's just like taking grown humans and throwing them around as he runs for like 300 yards.
And it's exactly what you pointed out when we were breaking down all the rookies in the offseason in preparation for rookie drafts. His forced missed tackle rate is just absurd. It was absurd in college. He leads the NFL in it right now. And it's just, I'm a little surprised it's stayed this high throughout the entire season, but can't say we didn't call it.
Well, look, I mean, it was an easy prospect to see when you were talking about the draft class he was in. He was coming out with like the other top guys were basically all seniors. He even supplanted the senior on his team in Michael Carter, who ended up being, I think, a 3rd-round pick, 4th-round pick, whatever he was. It was just like there's so many good signs and pro signs in Javonte's favor, and the Broncos even traded up for him. So, yeah, I don't know. I think as a podcast, we did a good job. I don't know. Frank's touched on this point, though, before. He even touched on it last week with the Narcos Jr. analogy, where it's like, yeah, we had him as a running back 1, but to me, like, I didn't like the other running backs. So, like, it's hard for me to fully victory lap this one because, like, I probably wasn't as high on Javonte as some of you guys were in the grand scheme of things, like in the overall total running back rankings. So, I don't know. I mean, I still feel good about like where I had him in the rookie draft and everything, but like I probably could have even put him up a little higher, to be honest. I think a lot of people could have. A lot of the most vocal people on Twitter who are like, I had Javonte as running back 1, could have had him up a little higher than they did. But yeah.
Well, yeah, that's what, real quick before we move on to the next topic, it's one thing that's interesting is that you see so many people. The same people that victory lapped Jamar Chase are now, it seems like, victory lapping Javonte Williams, where I feel like their ADP
victory lap Jalen Waddle
was but the thing is that Javonte Williams' ADP was very close to Jamar Chase's. You know, if you were going to pick one of them, unless you just had a horde of draft picks, you probably had to make the decision. Oh, do I want Chase? Do I want Javonte? I mean, if you were choosing between the two, it seems like there wasn't really a wrong answer, but it just is curious to me to see, like, A, how many draft picks these fucking people have, or B, like, there's some sort of disconnect because you had to make the choice between one of the two. You can't have all the good players. You can't like everyone. You gotta make the decision on one guy at the end of the day. So
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think you don't have a wrong choice.
Watch out here in the jungle of fantasy football analysis.
Yesterday, it was last week it was Narcos Jr. Now we're in the jungle.
Yeah, we're in the jungle.
Well, Javonte is taking it, like, at what point is it too high, I guess, is the last thing we'll touch on with him.
RB4?
See, I don't know if I agree with that because
RB4 is high.
Well, I just remember.
Do you think they re-sign Melvin Gordon this offseason?
No.
I don't see it. I
don't even know if I care.
I could see them bringing in another back so Javonte's not the only running back in that offense, obviously. But bringing back a guy like Melvin Gordon, who's probably going to demand a decent contract after the season he's had, I just don't see them doing that. I could see them bring in more of a role player behind Javonte and giving him a bigger workload, which is only going to make him, maintain value at worst.
I don't know, dude. Like,
running back 4 is high.
see,
But we
thing
had
is
the
for
same
me-
conversation last year with Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Swift.
And with Justin Jefferson, a lot of people were kind of saying, "Oh, well, you have to sell him at wide receiver 1," which I was on that train at first until I watched some of the Vikings games back before my Game Pass expired, and it's like, well, this guy's insane. Like wide receiver 1, whether he's wide receiver 2, valued whatever. Like, okay, and unless I'm getting a franchise for him, I'm going to keep the dude because he's a stud. To me, it's a similar thing with Javonte. I mean, you guys were talking about guys that were high on Javonte. I had him as a top 10 running back coming into the season before he stepped foot on the ground. Now that he's RB4, like, why am I selling? Unless I am getting the house, I'm not selling, which I don't think people are willing to offer the house right now. So to me, he's staying on the roster, baby. We are riding him right now.
Oh, I didn't mean necessarily to trade him while he's high. I just meant in terms of like, if you did your running back rankings right now, is he in your top 4? For me, he's probably somewhere 6, 7, 8, a little bit lower. His top 4s.
I probably have him at 5 or 6. My question to you though, Frank, right, is I'm walking up to you. You have Javonte Williams, and I'm going to try and make a trade with you. I'll toss out 3 different names. Tell me which ones yes, no, and then at the end you could say which you're more inclined to if you say no or yes to all of them. Javonte for Joe Burrow.
No.
You're holding Javonte?
Most of the time.
Okay.
It is a little bit circumstantial there because we kind of go back into if you don't have any quarterbacks and you need a piece to build your team around long term, well, Joe Burrow is one of the better pieces to do that.
Mm-hmm.
If I have a good team that has like Kirk Cousins and Tua, even though I could look to upgrade, I'd rather have the running back of Javonte's caliber at least.
Also, point of clarification in case there's any new listeners, like we're talking Superflex. So Javonte or Kyle Pitts?
Fuck you. That's a tough one.
I'm still
he's in trouble
Pitts.
here. You're going Pitts?
I think I'm leaning Pitts because Pitts was one of 3 players that I had above Javonte in my rookie rankings.
Lounis, would you have taken Burrow there in the other trade scenario?
Burrow's tough. I think I'm kind of in a similar position as Frank, where it's like if you have no QBs, where like you're not going to be competing for like the next 2-3 years, then yes, I would take Burrow. But if you have like 2 startable quarterbacks that you're like trying to win over the next 2-3 years, I'm probably leaning Javonte.
All right, and then last one. Let's see. I don't know which one's going to be the most interesting for you guys. Let's do Javonte or DeAndre Swift.
I mean, for me, it's Javonte, but that's also kind of coming from a somewhat DeAndre Swift hater. I thought you were going to throw out Christian McCaffrey because that's one that I'm a little bit back and forth on. I still think I'd rather have Christian McCaffrey than Javonte Williams, even though he's above him on keep trade cut.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is plummeted.
McCaffrey is running back 5 right now to Javonte's running back 4, which is just something heading into the season I don't think any of us expected.
Yeah, well, keep trade cut has Nick Chubb and Christian McCaffrey at the exact same, which, I mean, Nick Chubb is a very good player, don't get me wrong, but like if you're talking about age and everything, they're the same age. Christian McCaffrey just gets like 10 more points per game when they're both healthy.